Welcome to the Game Professors Podcast, where the students have taken over and we profess our love and hate for all things video games. This week is basically new game announcement week. So if you thought 2026 didn't have enough game announcements, you are now officially wrong. Because they all happened basically this last week. Those will be at the end. We'll kind of go through a bunch of them into some details about some that we like. And if we miss any, feel free to throw a comment about what your favorite game was, and we'll go take a look. That being said, first order of business. We missed another week. We hope this... The goal is to not have this be a pattern. We gotta find like a third to join us on the podcast. That way, if for whatever reason life happens and one of us can't be here, the other can. And I wasn't here because I was on a trip, and I'll get into the story quickly. But I just want to kind of give you a rundown of what we have for this week. So, Path of Exile 2 provides a way to qualitatively measure a gamer's altruism. Microsoft and NVIDIA supercharge integrated graphics. Epic doesn't care about your performance as they announce UE6. A WoW gamer finds his dad's long-lost treasure, and because of scammers, even Steam says we can't have nice things. So, went on a trip. We were in specifically St. Augustine. There's no reason to hide it, because the thing I'm going to talk about is specific to St. Augustine. So, we were in St. Augustine. Now, Heru, when do you think the first indoor pool with a retractable roof was built?
I could see like mid 2000s.
Okay. So, in 1890.
Goddamn.
Do you know the name Henry Flagler?
No.
Do you know the name J.D. Rockefeller?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, everyone's heard of J.D. Rockefeller. For those of you who don't know, kind of one of the richest men ever in history, probably adjusted for inflation. U.S. magnate. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Henry Flagler was his partner. I'm sorry for a little bit of a history lesson, but it's important. So the man had a lot of money. He went down to St. Augustine in 1870 and decided to build, and I'm sending Heru the photos now, but I'll describe them to you. Decided to build a 3-story indoor pool with 2 levels above it. The first level was a ballroom around the pool, and this pool had ropes for trapeze artists, and it's massive. This whole thing is massive indoors. And you could climb up a ladder to crank open the glass roof so you could A, see the stars at night, and B, open the roof during the day. And you didn't rent a room here for a day, you had to rent it for the whole season. So, you had to have money to stay here. This blew my mind that in 1890, in the United States, there was an indoor pool with trapeze ropes for people and a retractable glass roof. This is some BS that you would see in some villain's house in a movie, let alone the 1890s, and it was real. The Carnegies stayed here, presidents stayed here. This is just wild to me, so I just feel like I had to share this insane thing. But it's now a cafe, so if you're in St. Augustine, it's a museum and a cafe. You can go eat where the pool was. They filled in the deep end, and there's a whole bunch of pieces of artwork and stuff around the rest of the building. So if you're in St. Augustine, it's a cool place. Go check it out. Anyways, getting back to the actual gamer stuff. Ace Combat 8, Wings of Thieve is how I'm pronouncing that, and I double-checked here, that is the name. Is a, obviously the sequel to Ace Combat 7. More of an arcadey game rather than a strict physics simulator. It's not like it's DCS or anything. But the developers really wanted to make sure they got the models right this time around. So they were creating 3D models based on public information submitted to them by manufacturers for review. And they were doing 3D scans of planes at museums so they could get kind of the full immersive experience. I find it funny because one of the things they talked about as they got so much feedback from manufacturers, and keep in mind these are military jets, sometimes they wondered if they were supposed to know some of the things they were getting, which it's just such a thing that constantly happens with games. Because what is it, War Thunder?
Yep.
War Thunder. They constantly have to shut down information in the forums because some military buff slash nerd is like, no, 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 no. The armor is actually this thick because I worked on it or I was a tanker.
Right.
It's classified. So hopefully Ace Combat 8 is able to keep a cap on it, but it seems like the developers themselves got the information, so I'm sure it'll be okay. I just love this type of stuff. Only happens with games, though, which just makes me laugh. It's obviously a sequel to Ace Combat 7 in terms of both story and game itself. It's going to be massive. They're trying to build it to a 1-to-1 scale for stuff. So 100-kilometer square world map. You are to scale for the jets and everything. And it's going to be have a lobby so players can actually walk around their hangar or in the airbase, which I think is kind of cool to see the planes and whatever decals you have on it.
Mm-hmm.
Going to have cross-platform PvP and co-op missions. So that's coming up this year. So be ready to experience that if you're a Plane fan or an Ace Combat fan. And I don't need to tell you what the story is because they're always ridiculous, but if you want to go look, it's out there for what the premise is. Alrighty. Let's get into lab work. All right, Heru. Path of Exile 2 had a big update. Do you want to go into the update and some of the features?
Yes, absolutely. So, Return of the Ancients, which is Path of Exile 2's update 0.5.0, technically, but 0.1 is out now as well. Massively revamped their entire in-game system, as well as obviously starting a new league for new seasonal type mechanics. And in this, they tried to revamp a lot of the unique slash legendaries for people who aren't in the Path of Exile world, because some of them, they don't really scale with level quite as well. So they made it to where you can actually recraft them into higher level uniques, which is actually really great. It has definitely revamped it a little bit. However, the thing that has been, I think, the most interesting is this Martyr of the First Edict mechanic. None of us knew about it initially when the patch dropped, and it kind of just came out randomly from a streamer who just kind of clicked some buttons, right? He had no idea what it would do. I mean, it kind of is pretty obvious when you look at the stream, but
Karn was his name, I think.
Yeah, Karn. He max leveled a warrior that then ascendancy'd into Titan, and then ultimately ended up sacrificing that Titan character. And what it ultimately does is it gives an extra passive skill point to use on everybody else, every other character that ever starts in that league specifically.
So it's not the whole game. So not everyone playing PoE 2 gets a +1.
No. So there are officially 4 leagues. There's standard, so standard league for the season. There's hardcore league for the season. There's solo self-found, and then there's solo self-found hardcore. Right, so there's 4 total leagues, and 4 total people have to sacrifice themselves, 1 per, for the people or the characters in that league to get that point. Now here's the thing. That point is not readily available to you at level 1. Right, so you don't just get an extra point at level 1 and call it a day. That's not how it works.
So if enough people were to do it, you're not just going to get +20 starting a new character.
I don't believe that I don't believe you can sacrifice any more characters. I believe
it's just
was
the first person?
Just the first person, yes. I would have to double check that, but when I got there and beat the boss and beat the pinnacle version of that boss, I did not see a sacrifice option. Now, granted, my character is not level 100, so
yeah,
maybe?
I think you have to be level 100.
Right. But at the same time, it doesn't really make sense to delete any more characters unless they have another hidden secret where you delete 100 characters in a league and everybody else gets another point. That'd be sick. That would actually be really cool.
That'd be kind of interesting. I mean, something like I don't know if you remember, but or anyone out there remembers, but reading this initially, I remembered in Nier Automata that you could sacrifice your save file because there was in one of the endings you could get, there was a mini game that you had to play with the credits, which was basically a bullet hell shooter. And if someone sacrificed their save file, then you could basically provide buffs to other people trying to beat that. So there is precedent for something like this of sacrificing, giving something of material up in a game to help others, which I love the effect, and it just provides a little extra incentive to be a little less selfish and makes people think and actually consider what they're doing for the community. So I think it's fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, when we kind of all saw this come to fruition, it was very interesting. The entire community was surprised in general, but also at the concept. For anybody who doesn't know,
it looks like one for now. Sorry to interrupt. It looks like one for now.
So for anybody who doesn't know, getting to level 100 in Path of Exiles is not an easy thing to do. I have been playing for probably 100 hours now since release, and I'm still only like level 91. So, and I'm ahead of most everybody else that I play with.
You're only 91?
Yeah. So, to be honest, there's so many other things in that game to do than just gain experience and kill mobs, right? There's so many other things.
Have you been playing this one character the entire time you've been playing Path of Exiles 2?
Until yesterday, yes.
Okay, well, you have 302 hours on record. So
Well, on record, sure. But what about the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, but if you've been playing the one character.
No. So it's seasonal.
Got it. Okay.
So, yeah. I'd have to see like how much time I've actually put in this week, but...
You put in 141.8 hours in the past 2 weeks, and you do have Eugenics and Oaken Tower on there. So take off a few hours. You probably put in somewhere around 110, 15, I would imagine.
Oh, no. If it's 140, it's 140.
148, or 141. So there you go. That's how many hours.
Is that like all time played?
In the last 2 weeks.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, ultimately...
I mean, that's a lot of time and grind to get to 100, so it's definitely not an easy thing, especially for normal working people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm surprised that anybody would do it, but at the same time, if you were like, screw it, I was the first, I'll be the second. Doesn't really matter, right? And for somebody who is actively, streaming, playing the game, making money off of it, that's literally their job. Being the first to do something like that is huge, right? Yeah. Number one, it's free freaking press.
I was going to say, the advertising is amazing.
Yeah. Advertising alone, especially in solo self-found, that's insane. Now, if it was solo self-found hardcore, that would be hilarious. In fact, I don't know, I'd have to look it up, but I don't know if a solo self-found hardcore has actually done it yet.
Oh, gotten to 100?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't doubt if someone got to 100. I just don't know if they've beaten the pinnacle.
Yeah, that's a good question.
To get a little bit of the actual mechanics out of the way to do this, which is not the same way of actually earning the point, but the way to sacrifice the character is you have to beat the pinnacle boss, Arbiter of Ash, which means you have to fully progress the in-game system known as the Fortress of the Ancients, also known as maps for those who don't know. And then once you do that, a hidden waypoint unlocks behind the Origin Tower, leading to a mysterious chamber called the Site of the Chosen. And then you can walk in there and sacrifice your character, assuming you are level 100. However, how you actually get the point is by beating the quest version of Arbiter of Ash. So it's not the pinnacle version, just the quest version. And then that same Site of the Chosen pops up. And I was already so much further ahead of the rest of the community. I'm not a streamer by any means, so I'm not sitting here playing 16 hours a day. And unfortunately, I do have a life and work. So
what?
While I still put an assload of time into video games, I still can't put as much time as a streamer.
I can't vouch for you that you are a productive member of society. So
fair enough. So I was the first to get the point out of everybody. And a lot of people, when I was there was just nobody there, right? I walked into an empty chamber, whereas it is multiplayer visible area. So when you, similar to towns, when you walk in there, you can see other players. But when I walked in there, I was alone. The only time I saw anybody was when I started walking out. Yeah. That was the only time I saw anybody. But I've seen screenshots where there are like 30, 40, 50 people.
This has
in
got to
that
be
chamber.
like a season or massive update type of thing, right? Because I feel like that the precedent would be cool where it's like every new major content drop, whichever form that takes, is like a new person can make a sacrifice would be cool.
So that's the thing. Path of Exile 1 and 2 and Diablo 3 and 4, for that matter, are season-based games. So every season, you start a new character, and the league changes. So technically, in that new league, no one has sacrificed themselves.
That makes sense.
Right? So I could see them continuing it. I could see them expanding on it. I could see them making it harder, and I could see them adding more than one sacrifice being a requirement for these passive skills. Because one extra passive skill point, it doesn't sound like a lot. You get a total, I think it's like 124, but now you get 125. There is, and I'm aware of another mechanic that does give you another extra passive skill point. So you technically can get 126, but the 126th one is incredibly rare to find. Well,
how many WoW players should we ask if a 0.08% buff is worth it or not?
I mean, I could just ask my guild. They'd all say yes.
I mean, that's the point.
But especially because you can get that extra passive skill point before level 100.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, you're already going to be ahead. You're going to be one level up constantly, and then at level 100, you're going to be level 101 worth of skill points.
Yeah. No, it's great.
You get the 24 weapon passive skill points throughout the campaign.
I mean,
so
what I foresee, which would be actually if this is the way that it breaks down, like, it's almost brilliant for the developers, because just like WoW has race to world's first for every new dungeon, right? You would have every new content drop with new leagues. You would have on the streaming platforms race to first sacrifice or whatever.
Yeah, race to 100. Yeah. It would. It does. It completely redefines the idea of that race, right? Before, you just kind of got a little, achievement. You were at the top of the leaderboards. Woo, right?
Yeah, that's but now your reward is you lose a character.
No, now your reward is that you are permanently engraved in the sight of the chosen.
Yes.
Which is fun as the way I know it's not as much fun because it's not nearly as ridiculous. But yeah, but
that's immortality. That's infamy, right? Is
yes,
being enshrined like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Karn even publicly stated that, quote, "that was the coolest thing I've seen in a video game in a very long time," end quote. So,
yeah, which I mean, I would have to agree.
Yeah, it's the coolest. It's one of the coolest things I've seen in a video game since Nier Automata.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I would not be surprised if there are a lot of people who, upon the next season's release, which by the way is November, upon the next season's release, that people like take off of work and like take vacations to try and participate in this race. Because now it's interesting, right? Before it was like whatever. Now it's interesting.
Yeah, well, yeah, because now it's a community event.
Exactly.
Rather than an individual one.
Exactly. That's just amazing to me. And I would love to see them expand on it too. Because, like, yes, the race to 100 is cool and all. And having that one person per league be able to, have their name enshrined is cool and all. But at the same time, because of us basically benefiting from streamers and hardcore players, I would almost like to see more than that. More than just one.
I think it would be cool, like, you could do this in a couple of different ways. Like, the first person that does it gets +1 to the community, and then every person after that does a sacrifice gets, like, a custom skin or something. That would be fun for their account.
Yeah, I mean, you could. That'd be weird, though. But no, like, because you can have a total of, I think, 4 or 5 players in a party. And I think it would be interesting to see like a group of 5 players just spam their way up to 100 and then all 5 sacrifice at the same time, and make it to where like to be able to sacrifice, you have to sacrifice 5 characters at the same time. It can't be one at a time.
See, no, I disagree. I think it should stay the 1, but those 5 have to now fight each other to make the sacrifice.
That would be interesting, but also I don't think they have any intentions of ever introducing PvP.
No, but that would be fun. A good old bloodbath on the way to self-sacrifice.
Yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying Path of Exiles 2. The last season, I ended up joining into that season pretty late, so I didn't really get to experience the beginning of the season feeling and like watching as the economy scales up. So I was kind of just like stuck, and it's one of those things where like if you're not born rich kind of thing. Right?
Like Henry Flagler?
Yeah, exactly. So if you,
or his family,
at the start of a season, everybody's poor, right? Because we're all just getting stuff based off of the drops that we receive. Yeah. And then slowly as time goes on, then more and more drops are happening, right? So like stuff is getting fed into the economy. And now granted, people are using, because the currency items in Path of Exile 1 and 2 are also used for crafting. And so like those items are regularly being deleted by using them for crafting, but at the exact same time, there's still just an influx of these things because a lot of people don't really understand the crafting system, which I don't understand how they don't. It's not that hard. I say that as someone who's probably put 100 hours into it in the last 2 weeks, but still.
Yeah, you might be biased.
Maybe just a little bit, and I also am not like uber rich, but I would say I'm pretty rich. But like my point is, like at the start of a season, kind of everybody's poor, so you get to actually grow your wealth with the season. Whereas if you come into the season super late, you're playing catch up the whole time. So, and there is kind of like a pseudo stock system in the game, because some items, as you get deeper and deeper into the season, they become more and more expensive. So
how much more expensive?
Do you want me to really explain the whole damn economy to you?
Well, no, I was wondering if it could just quickly be like, yeah, you know, they could end up being double later on or something.
Double? No, try like 15 to 100x more.
Okay, there you go. Now I have
X
context of more double. Because like more and more expensive, are we going from like one price to 20% more? Like, like what's the context here?
Just in the last week, some of the items that I purchased a week ago have more than tripled in price.
Jeez.
So I bought them early and I'm just holding on to them, and as they go up in price, I just sell them when I need stuff. I did the same thing.
Or playing the stock market.
It's basically playing the stock market, yes. But I mean, like that's how life works.
You're not wrong.
Like you invest in good things.
I definitely don't do that at all with Sia skins.
Nope, not at all, right? Alrighty.
Man. Well, at least it's good. The update's great. It's always good to see that games like that. I mean, like this is a mechanic I would not expect to be introduced in an update, to be honest with you. So it's cool that they're adding some substantial, unique stuff like this for the community experience on an update. So
true.
Kudos to them. Good for their players. Glad you're having a good time.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is still technically beta, right? So this is probably something that they were planning, and it's just part of fleshing out the game to get it to a 1.0 ready state. But still.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I trust them more than I do other developers in that's same fair. Spot. So, alrighty. Let's move on to shop class. Alrighty. Heading down to the shop class, taking a look at some of the tech tools. Specifically, NVIDIA and Microsoft decided to announce RTX Spark, both the platform and the Surface Dev Box as well. They classified it as reinventing the PC, but when you get down to it, it's basically integrated graphics, but supercharged integrated graphics, to be fair. So it's a joint effort between the two major companies that was announced at Computex 2026. It's an ARM-based platform, which is quite interesting. System on chip, specifically, designed to bring heavy AI and gaming compute directly to local hardware, reducing their reliance on cloud computing, and making mobile gaming, I assume, a little bit potentially easier, maybe? We'll see. And I do find this interesting because a bunch of Microsoft's business is cloud computing. So designing something that takes the strain off is interesting because it makes me wonder, like, do they know something we don't?
Right? Is it time to just dump all our stock?
Yeah, right. Or is it like like, is the graph leveling off, so it's just like you can only have so much growth? I don't know. We'll see. But specifically the N1 and N1X chips in the Spark family, which is the consumer based versions of NVIDIA's GB10 Grace Blackwell super chip. It is a CPU, a 20-core Grace CPU, 10 Cortex X925 performance cores, and 10 Cortex A725 efficiency cores. The GPU is a Blackwell RTX GPU featuring 48 streaming multiprocessors and 6,144 CUDA cores, basically providing performance similar to a desktop 5070, apparently. Which, kind of impressive, to be honest. It's going to have... Allegedly. It'll have 128 gigs of unified LPDDR5X memory running on an incredibly fast 600 gigabyte NVLink C2C interconnect with power draws from 45 watts to 80 watt TDPs. So, look, if it is a 5070, desktop 5070 performance, that's huge and awesome. Because supposedly with something like this, you're not going to need the massive laptop with the big giant heatsink on the back, potentially. Would be the goal that I think would be in mind here, is a more portable, power-friendly device that still has all this performance built into it. So, super cool.
Assuming it can stay cooled.
What's that?
Assuming it can stay cool.
Yeah, well,
because if you just temperature throttle constantly, it's not going to help.
No, if you do what Apple used to do when they had Intel chips and just constantly thermal throttle the chips, you're not really getting the actual performance you're paying for.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because it's only been announced at this point. But the chips will actually fully support NVIDIA's full software suite, everything from ray tracing, DLSS, and G-Sync. So all of that will be supported with these chips. The performance, and keep in mind, every time consoles and GPUs are announced, they always put out performance numbers that are like ideal situations and basically fudged a bit. So take all of these numbers with a grain of salt. But supposedly it's quote-unquote easily able to push over 144 frames at 1440p in titles like the new 7 First Light, Forza, God, I keep doing it. I do it every time with this freaking title. Forza Horizon 6. Even maintaining peak performance while running on battery power. It is emulation, to be fair here. So for x86 gamers who used Prism translation layer in private testing, the Grace Blackwell architecture was able to run Cyberpunk 2077 at 1440p on max settings, and that's through potentially 2 translation layers on Linux, but since Windows only requires 1, it's less overhead. So, cool stuff. Hopefully it's there. The Surface Dev Box looked sick, just as an art piece. I kind of want one. It's going to be way too expensive of a freaking art piece, though, so I'm not going to need it. But the whole chassis is cooling. It's a metal chassis that actually helps cool the device, supposedly passively at some point. So, cool stuff. Hopefully it turns out well, and I'll pray that it works as intended and we get some new cool gaming tech. Speaking of praying, UE6 was also announced, with the first game specifically being RLCS, aka Rocket League. So it was announced during RCLS, specifically the first game, Rocket League, pardon me. But they've already said that they're basically stopping support for hardware from 2015, and it's going to have higher minimums.
Nice.
We have problems now with games. We have problems now with games and performance on UE5. And Epic just went, nah, it's fine. UE6, that'll fix everything. Higher minimums, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's what Windows 11 did.
Yeah, and everybody loves Windows 11 for gaming performance.
It's great.
Man. All right. Well, UE6 supposedly shifts to a multi-threaded simulation, distributing game logic, physics, and AI across multiple CPU cores for cleaner performance, as opposed to bottlenecks on UE5. Epic Games is positioning UE6 to merge traditional game development with creator-focused tool sets. So we'll see. I don't know what to make of this, dude.
Let me get this straight.
What's that?
Let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Unreal Engine 5 was officially released April of 2022. And they were like, you know what would be freaking hilarious? If we released a game engine that still has single threading.
Yeah.
In 2022. Why? Why did anybody think that was a good idea?
I'm not sure a lot of people did, except for the people that made it.
They probably didn't either. Marketing probably just said, put it out, we need money.
Hey, maybe that's why UE6 is coming so soon. Maybe it's because they realized how bad UE5 was, and they're like, let's move on to something else that'll fix a lot of these issues.
Jeez.
I mean, it's not a bad way to do it. We just talked about Microsoft, a few Microsoft versions, except for Windows 11, that they're sticking with. They, a couple of times, have come out with earlier versions of Windows than they necessarily would have on a life cycle because the previous one was so garbage. So
Vista to 7, 8 to 10. Yeah.
So it is a thing that happens. So I guess we can all pray that even though it has higher minimums, maybe in general it will give us better performance. We'll see. Alrighty. I think we're done talking about hopes and prayers for things. Well, at least in this context. Let's move on to some gaming history. Alright. We're going back in time, specifically to 2004, as a new generation of gamer was accessing his father's inactive World of Warcraft account that had been roughly dormant for 15 years. Now, Heru, have you read this at all yet?
No.
Okay. What would be something desirable, without reading what's there, what would be something desirable from an initial World of Warcraft account that somebody could find?
Collector edition mounts.
I mean, dang, dude. I didn't know why I thought that might be slightly something for you to guess. But, yes, exactly. So after 15 years, he logged into the account. Now, the mount wasn't there, interestingly enough. But what was there was the Welcome to Warcraft quest.
What?
Yeah. So the quest, so essentially, for those of you who don't know, the very rare collector's edition, am I getting this right? The collector's edition?
I believe so.
Came with a code in which you could get a quest that would result in getting one of these mounts. Now, getting that code is incredibly rare. Unused codes decades later were selling for 1,500 euro, potentially up to 1,500 euro, just, with how rare they are and how desirable it is to have something unique like that. Mm-hmm. So in even rarer turn of events, he doesn't have the code, but he has the account that was redeemed on, but never finished.
That's wild.
So his dad just logged in, redeemed the code, and never played.
And then probably stopped giving a shit. That's insane.
Yep. So, yeah, he logged in, found that the quest was still there, and so now he has the option to go complete the quest to get the Panda Cub, the Mini Diablo, or the Zergling. So, I mean, if he's a WoW fan, does he go ahead and go through with it and make this as his own account now?
He absolutely can.
What's Blizzard's terms and conditions for transferring accounts?
You can inherit accounts.
Okay, so family.
Yeah, he'd have to prove it. So either the parent would have to pass it down, or the child would need to prove inheritance, basically, meaning that their parent is passed.
Oh, that's fair. Well, probably easy to do with his dad. So I'm sure he can play it. So he can't sell the account then, right? That would be a big no-no.
Selling accounts is illegal. Yes, do not do.
So he doesn't have anything that he can get money of, but he does have a really cool thing now.
Oh, don't get me wrong. He can get money off of it. He just shouldn't.
I was avoiding that discussion, but that's fair.
But I mean, okay, so like, just talking about TOS for a second here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's only one person who can actually get screwed for breaking this particular TOS, and it's the person who buys the account.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Because the person who sold the account, they got their money and they moved on.
That's true.
Right? So...
And to be fair, I'm not sure it suits Blizzard to put a lot of resources to tracking this down, considering it's a very rare thing that will have happened, too.
Yeah.
I mean, how many other accounts have redeemed the code and not completed the quest that they have to watch out for?
There's probably at least one more.
Maybe.
You have to remember how many accounts were created for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but wasn't this version pretty rare of the game?
No, it was only $80 in 2004.
Yeah, but I thought the thing that I read, that not a lot of these were available. Not the game itself, but this version of it.
Yeah, so it's because it was all hard boxes, right? We're back in the day of non-digital copies, right? Yeah. So they were, as many copies were available, they were able to be purchased, right? And yeah, they were $80 back in 2004, which now is only like $140, but obviously rarity increases their price.
And not being used.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like what is it? Sealed versions are like $2,000 to $7,000.
Yeah, it's insane.
To be fair though, there was a re-release in 2024, right?
Of some things.
For these pets, not mounts, by the way. Pets. I know you said mounts earlier, but you were pretty close, but pets.
Yeah, so some of the pets have been re-released. Namely, I think the Panda Cub was re-released. I want to say Mini Diablo was re-released at some point. I don't think the Zergling was, though.
So maybe that's the super rare one then.
Yeah.
But yeah. So fun. So if you have a dad that's even partially a nerd, maybe go check and see if he has an old dormant World of Warcraft account with a quest sitting in it.
I'm just curious how he found this. There's so many sequence of events that I want to know.
For me, it's the login, right? Like, because there's like, can you go through recovery because this says inactive for 15 years. So even though obviously the game's older than that. So how does he remember the login 15 years later? Like, does this dad just have a sticky note that's been sitting in his desk for 15 years where he's like, oh yeah, son, here's the login.
So my thought process, I don't know about you. My thought process is that he's probably been using the same email address for 15 years.
That's fair. Yeah, that's
right?
Probably true.
And so all you would have to do is hit reset password.
I have a junk email that's older than that, so it's definitely plausible.
Now, at the exact same time, it's tied to his Blizzard account, right? His Battle.net account. So if he plays Diablo or StarCraft, then his account is still running, right? Or Overwatch, or Heroes of the Storm, whichever, right?
Or technically
if he's playing,
Call of Duty.
Brother, kill me. Just kill me. I know you're not wrong, but kill me. But yeah, so like if he's playing any of that and he's kept his account up to date and stuff like that, then, I mean, at that point, it's really just a matter of logging into World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that is fair.
And given that everything except for the last expansion, or the most recent expansion, is available to you for just the subscription fee, it's not that much major of a bar.
I mean, you're not wrong. It is these types of things, though, that I love that there are games this old that you can find these types of stories that exist. I mean, how many games out there can you say, yeah, logged into a defunct account that was a family member's and there's a quest that's 15 to 20 years old that's sitting in there?
Yeah, this reminds me of a thing that my guild does. It drives me insane, but
Okay.
there's a couple of my guildmates who just they hold on to a quest strictly for its name and to share it to the raid on occasion for memes. Okay? The name of it is checking on the boys. And it drives me absolutely insane. It's funny, but it's only funny sometimes when I'm not already pissed.
Hey, you know what? It's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, so that's what they're doing it for, okay? This is a good thing. They're checking to make sure that all the boys got that good mental health going on right now, all right?
Actually, real talk, because I know that a lot of people think that most gamers, especially in hardcore communities, are primarily men. A third of our guild is females.
So it's still primarily men.
Yeah. But like, when I say primarily men, most people think it's like 90.
Okay, that's fair. I'm like, hold on. That's still
Shut up.
2/3 men. What do you mean?
Shut up. It's still surprising. Now, granted, once you've accepted one woman into the guild, then they kind of tend to flock in. It's very weird, and I'm not being sexist here. Mind you, I raid with my partner, who is female.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
it's a very weird scenario because, like, once you have, like, a woman or two, they tend to flock in because they recognize that guild and its leadership doesn't tolerate sexism.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, that they're not going to be creepy. It's
Exactly.
what you're advertising is word of mouth.
Correct.
You're basically telling people right now, guess what? Women have friends, and they bring them to their spaces that they are accepted.
Actually,
I feel like it's sad that you have to explain that to
It is sad.
people.
But none of the women knew each other prior.
Oh, okay.
They all joined individually. But one of the questions that we do regularly get during interview process with women is, do you have any other women in the guild?
I mean,
right?
Yeah, it's always good to not say, no, you'd be the only one.
Right. True.
Nah, you'd be the only one. Do you have friends?
Do you have friends? Bring your friends, please.
Then we'll have two.
Oh my God.
Anyways, so check in on your boys. And
True.
check in on your old World of Warcraft accounts. You'll never know what you'll find.
True.
Alrighty, let's move on to some civics and sociology. Alright, everybody, circle up. We're taking a look at some aspects of the gaming community. This time around, scammers have affected Steam, unfortunately. And I do think, and we'll get into this, but I do think some of the lawsuits also played a factor into this. So, Valve is officially ending physical Steam gift cards globally. So whatever stock is remaining at retailers will be sold through and will not be getting restocked. Valve expects physical gift cards to run out and fully run dry by the end of this year, 2026. And it has been verified as Valve updated their official help FAQ page to reflect the end of the retail program. So initially it was quietly pushed via update and was flagged down by SteamDB databases and other users, and then confirmed later. So, why? Why, Heru, is it scammers? Well, if any of you don't know, one of the common scam tactics is to call somebody and claim to be various government organization, pick one, FBI, IRS, DMV, doesn't really matter. Claim that you have outstanding tickets, taxes, warrants, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anything. You owe money to this government organization, and if you don't pay up, you're going to lose your car, your house, yada, yada, yada. So, how do they want to get paid? Well, one way the scam works is they have you go buy gift cards and then just give them the codes for the gift cards, and that's the value. The other most prevalent way still involves the gift cards, but they put up a fake bank page And as you're entering in the dollar value, and they make it look like your bank, as you're entering in the dollar value for transfer, they click in a couple extra zeros. So it looks like instead of paying the $100 fine or rebate or whatever, you've actually overpaid or whatever. So then the guy starts freaking out. I'm going to lose my job or whatever. And so he's like, you need to quickly get money to make this right, or I'm not going to be able to feed my family. You can do that by getting gift cards and getting me money. So they prey on people's empathy is how it goes. So they have people go get gift cards. It was very prevalent that it used to be Apple iTunes gift cards. Then it became Google Play gift cards. Well, I think it's still Google Play gift cards, but they've also done everything in between. And one of them has been Steam gift cards because of the thing that I mentioned earlier. You can buy Steam skins and then trade those on third-party websites for actual bank balance. And obviously, Steam also does sell some hardware, so you can buy that hardware and then sell that hardware as well. And the gift cards of all varieties are untraceable. Once that gift card number goes out and it's redeemed, that money's gone. So you can't track it down, which is one of the reasons they do this instead of a check or a bank transfer. So that's why Valve is cracking down on it, to basically end scammers using Steam to hurt people, which is a bummer, because I do know back in the day, and every now and then, I still have family members that sometimes send me a Steam gift card because they know I buy games on Steam. They're not digital people. So they're like, here's a gift card because I know you buy games on the platform. So they will not be able to do that any longer.
They should see his Steam balance. He doesn't need the gift cards.
Well, actually, right now it's 0 because I haven't sold anything in a while. So I need to sell something new. Look, okay, eventually you run out of stock, and there's some skins I like to use and don't want to sell those yet. What is this judgment coming from over here?
Anyways, is the digital gift card program still continuing?
Yes. So you can still do digital gift cards, but that's because that's traceable and trackable, right?
Yeah.
With those purchases.
Theoretically.
Plus, the people that these scammers prey on tend to be less savvy digitally, so it's a lot harder for them to walk people through that process.
If you're not a technologically savvy individual, just fix that.
Yeah, just fix it.
Actually.
That's what you need to do.
Like, I wish I was joking, but, like, yeah, do some research, get up to date on some things, and figure it out. Because, like, that is life now.
For any of you out there that can't fix your check engine light, just get better.
That's different, sir. That is entirely different. Yes, fixing your check engine light, yes. That is much further than not being able to change a tire. Okay? To not understanding what a squealing brake sounds like.
All right, for those of you that don't know how to change your oil, you should just figure out how to do that.
It's not that hard. You literally put a pan underneath it, you pull the plug, you fill in more oil when you're done.
Yeah. And all those oil filters are super easy to get to, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Yeah, uh-huh.
I don't know, real talk. I usually make my brother do it. But I do know how to do it. I just tend not to. Mostly out of pure laziness.
Anyways, I think the other aspect to this change is the lawsuits. Because one of the things the lawsuits mention is, digital currency being exchanged for real world goods. And so scammers are specifically using Steam gift cards to be able to get digital goods that they can then on third-party websites turn around and get money. I think they want to take that feather out of states' attorneys and country attorneys' pockets and hands. So I would imagine that is another determining factor here.
Yeah.
Did you get scared? I just saw you turn around and look at something.
No, I was just confused by something I heard.
Oh, fair enough. Anyways, so if you want, I don't know why you would need to hoard physical gift cards, but if you want to, go get them now, because you won't be able to once they're gone.
These are one of those things that will not increase in value, to be clear.
No, they will
So if you
not.
have a $20 gift card, it will remain a $20 gift card.
Yeah, you'd be better off taking your chances getting a $20 stock somewhere. You may lose money, but you could get money.
make money.
as opposed to losing your gift card.
True.
All right. Anyways, moving on to the big shebang for this episode, which is all the game announcements. We put that in free period, so let's get to it. All right, free period. All the game announcements. We're going to start off with the PlayStation Showcase. I believe that's what it was. Was it? I forget the official name. But PlayStation's announcements. Starting off with kind of, I think, one of the two big ones, which would have been God of War, and please forgive me, but I'm going to go with, because I didn't hear them pronounce the name, I just saw the trailer, but Laufey?
I would go with Laufey.
Laufey?
Personally.
Alaufey. And it's a brand new entry to the God of War franchise, obviously from Santa Monica Studios, with Kratos' wife fighting through the afterlife. So, you are not, as far as we know initially, playing Kratos, which will be a departure for the series. You are playing his wife, which supposedly would have a different set of skills, somewhat, I would imagine.
I would hope.
What's that?
I would hope.
Yeah, right? I mean, if it's just a reskin, what's the point, right? So, and it is a narrative shift for the game, as this is not a route that they've gone down previously. It will be a PlayStation exclusive, period, with no PC port planned as of now, but we've already kind of mentioned that in courses past. So this does not come as a shock. I will say, interestingly enough, that I saw some numbers today where in 2020, PlayStation first-party game sales were 58.4 million, and in 2025, they had a 45% drop down to 32.1 million. But I would like to point out that in 2020, they had the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 coming out. So they had the PlayStation 5 had just came out. So you're double dipping on your console generations here, new and old. You also had games like The Last of Us Part 2, which is a highly anticipated sequel to a very popular game. You had Ghost of Tsushima, which was quite a good game that was a brand new IP, but sold very well. And then you had the follow-up to Spider-Man as well in November of 2020, and that's just to name 3 off the top of my head. And in 2025, you had Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, which is a good game, but like it is not necessarily like PlayStation focused, I would say. And then you had, and it won't be, because it's that title that I don't think that IP is owned by, well, actually I know it's not. It's not owned by Sony, right? That's Kojima Games. And then you had Ghosts of Yotei, which while it was the sequel, had a brand new character. So now you're also basically trying to sell a new narrative piece here, which is poignant because Ghosts of Yotei actually did not do commercially well. And here we are talking about a God of War game that's not going to have Kratos shifting the main character. So maybe not a great omen here, but they are making it PlayStation exclusive again, so we'll see if that helps with the console. I have a feeling it probably won't, just because one of the things that made the PS4 so successful, and these games came out on both the PS4 and PS5, mind you, is that the PS4 got real cheap at the end there, which, as we've mentioned previously, PlayStation 5 is not. It's actually more expensive than when it launched, so I'm not sure this is going to super help, but anyways, it was announced. Maybe it'll be part of a new PlayStation lineup and it'll be a launch game, because I didn't see a date for this yet, so we'll see. Outside of that, another big title announced, which also PlayStation exclusive, no PC, was Marvel's Wolverine, and that is set for September 15th of this year. It is made by Insomniac as well, which did the Spider-Man titles. It will be priced at $70, and I did see some of the combat, and yeah, lots of blood, and it's brutal. So if you wanted, a Wolverine experience to be less PG-13 and more literal slice and dice of human bodies, you are getting that. So we'll see how that does. And then just quickly, a few things here. Until Dawn 2 was announced for 2027, which is a sequel to the horror IP of the same name. Silent Hill and a Control sequel as well for 2026. Control Resonant, by the way, is shifting protagonist as well, seeing a theme here with games, to Dylan Faden, who is the brother of the original protagonist for the first game, and will be set in a warped downtown Manhattan. It is officially booked for September 24th, and it did receive a little bit of backlash over its Digital Deluxe Edition, as the Digital Deluxe is the same price on all platforms. However, if you're on PlayStation 5, you get to play it 2 days early. So, I quite frankly understand the frustration from people, but also this is like nothing new. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but there's been plenty of like this is the same cost for this edition on all platforms, but you get a custom skin on this console.
Yeah, no, that's pretty standard. But I mean, I think the thing that's going to piss a lot of people off is that you're just not going to be able to play God of War outside of PlayStation.
I mean, that's fair. Like, you know why this doesn't bother me? Because as much as I like God of War, I have no idea if this is going to be good. Right?
Sure.
To be honest, they're changing this up. So, is the story going to be interesting at all? Is the gameplay going to be good? Where you're changing this up so heavily. I mean, the studio has a good reputation, so like, how bad could it be if it's bad? Like, who knows? So there's a lot of questions here. And then outside of that, money talks. PlayStation made money on PC. So I know they want exclusives, but is it really an exclusive? Or like 3 years from now, are they going to be like, yeah, sure, here's the game?
Right, exactly.
So,
it's very possible.
I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling that it's not going to be PlayStation exclusive forever, especially if it doesn't necessarily sell as well as they want it to.
All right, guys, you heard it here. Do not buy a PlayStation and do not buy God of War.
When did I
Unless
say
it releases on PC. No, I'm saying it.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, PCs right now are expensive too, though. So, unfortunately, PlayStation is a decent value comparatively, even though it's older at this point. You're better off saving your money for the next game console.
Sure.
That's what you're better saving your money off for.
Let me also mention the fact that a company can't just arbitrarily decide that all of your PC hardware is now irrelevant. And that no more games will ever be created for it. Whereas Sony can. They can just decide that PlayStation 5 is no longer worth it and move on to PlayStation 6. And then just no more games will ever be created, and now you're just stuck with a paperweight.
I mean, unless
you play some old games.
Unless you're a cheater and playing a Riot game. Did you see this story? No, did you see this story?
I did not.
So there's like I forget. Hold on here. So basically, there's this dedicated cheat hardware that's like a few $100s, right? So it's not cheap hardware. So, but it's a piece of input. So here's what it is. It's a input-output memory management unit that basically would be a physical piece of hardware that was acting like a drive, like a hard drive, and doing the cheats for you in their games. And you're talking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for these pieces of hardware. And Riot Games bricked them. Yes. But it also caused PCs not to boot until you uninstalled it.
Oh.
Look. I agree, but you did just say a random company can't brick your computer.
That's not what I said. What I said was that a random company cannot decide that all of your PC hardware is no longer relevant.
I mean, I would feel like not being able to use it would mean that it's not relevant.
No, it's still entirely relevant. Just because your hard drive's boot drive has been bricked because you're a cheater does not mean that all of the hardware in your PC
they're using their
is
kernel
useless.
level access to boot, to disable the hardware which was causing the computer not to boot. From everything that I saw and from the statement that Riot put out, if you remove that piece of hardware, your computer will boot. Just to be clear here. So
Yeah, my statement stands then.
yeah, it does, but it's not as much fun. But anyways, so yes, you are right. Your PC does stay relevant for quite a bit longer, especially for other things other than gaming, even when it gets older. You could make a Plex server out of it or anything else that you would desire. The hardware still is useful, even like 15 or 20 years old. So that being said, one last game that was announced, which was a few racing games that are being announced. So apparently we're seeing a resurgence in racing this year and in the coming years. Stuntman Hollywood. So the Stuntman franchise is making a comeback. So if you liked that driving franchise, you'll be able to enjoy that as well. It's launching late 2026 for everything except for Switch. And you're going to be able to drive vehicles like the DeLorean and Kit from an old show that none of you have heard of, but it's there. And you're supposed to do stunts and you get stylish points and yada, yada, yada. So it's a more fun arcadey thing. So if that's your bag, look forward to that. Alrighty. Xbox Game Showcase. A game that I am very much looking forward to. It is not a great game franchise, but I do have a piece of my heart that I love the State of Decay franchises. I enjoyed both 1 and 2. For anyone that doesn't know, they are co-op, and the co-op wasn't very good. So basically single player sandbox zombie games where you put on a map, it's all infected, you can build bases and save survivors, and you play as a survivor. Now, if that survivor dies, that survivor is dead. So you have to switch to one of the new survivors that you've saved, and you can now play them. So basically your game goes as long as you have survivors to play. So I always thought that that was a fun mechanic, because if you lost somebody, they were gone. Like that person was gone. You don't no respawn. You had to go play a different character essentially. And there was obviously gun level up mechanics and zombie nests, hotspots, and all that kind of jazz. So it had a really good gameplay loop for me that I enjoyed. They are focusing more on the co-op aspect this time around, so it should actually be fun to play with friends. So I look forward to that, as you can start a base on a map together and evolve that world as a group. So hopefully when it does come out sometime in 2027, I'll have friends to play with. But looking like it will be a good time. Outside of that, Persona 6 and a Persona 4 revival. Atlas officially revealed Persona 6 alongside a full remake of Persona 4. So they're bringing these games to Xbox as well. If you like the Persona games, I'm sure there's something there for you. Not really my bag. Gears of War E-Day. I'm a big Gears of War fan. This is a prequel, so this is right before the emergence of the Locusts. So you'll get to see the whole world before it was fully destroyed and while it's being destroyed, because it's Emergence Day when the Locust came out. That's coming out this year, October 6th, 2026, and it will be an Xbox exclusive, so look forward to that if you're a Gears of War fan. Fable was confirmed to be coming February 23rd of 2027. It's a Fable game. I'm sure you heard about them. If you don't know them, it's an RPG game. They did say that almost if not all, a lot of the NPCs are romanceable, so you'll be able to romance not necessarily a specific set of characters, but anyone you want, which is interesting. Someone did take a screenshot, which I love, because in the trailer it shows them talking to Megan the Merchant, and in it is a little bubble that says, looking for someone who is known as an entrepreneur, and these are checkmark boxes, wears only fancy clothes, and owns a local residence. Which, I'm not sure if that doesn't just describe all women.
Oh, man. Plague.
I mean, come on. Looking for an entrepreneur. So, a go-getter. They're looking for a go-getter.
Yep.
Looking for someone who's fancy clothed, so well-dressed, not a slob. And then looking for someone who has a local residence. A house. Right? Tell me I'm wrong.
Yep. I mean, you're not, really. I mean, the reality is that's what most people, I would say, in general, are looking for in a partner, is someone who is stable.
Agree. I just found this funny because I'm like, this is not unique in any way. Like, it's just, but it's a screenshot from the trailer, so I found that kind of funny. But there you go. You'll be able to romance random NPCs. For any of you out there that were a D&D person that always wanted that deeper connection with the random NPC that your DM came up with, you can basically do that in Fable. So go,
I'm curious. Previous Fable games had primarily 3 endings. So there was the good ending, the bad ending, and the mixed ending. I'm wondering if they will improve that system.
I mean, a lot of games in the late to mid 2000s had that for a lot of stuff. That was Mass Effect 2, right? Like you had the neutral, the good, the bad. I don't know how you get away from that because you have to write those, right? And you have to have cutscenes for those. So how many are you making?
I mean, that depends on how you're willing to do it, but there are plenty of games out there that have many different endings.
How many of those games have like full cinematics cut for them?
Do
like
I
narrated
need to say
cinematics
Detroit Become Human?
Yeah, and how long was that game?
And Near Automata?
No.
What do you mean no?
Near Automata, the gameplay is built around the endings. The endings are the gameplay. You can't extrapolate the endings from the entirety of the game. It is the game.
No. But there are significant cutscenes that happen depending on the ending that you get.
But that's my point, is it's not really an ending. Those endings are in the middle of the game. They're not endings. Like,
so are Detroit
as the
Become
traditional
Humans,
sense.
though.
The game does describe them as endings, but for every other game in existence, it's basically the middle of the game cutscene. As you're experiencing these different characters. So
you have ran away.
I mean, let's be honest here. So I don't know. Do you look at a lot of the narrative games that have the hundreds of thousands of lines of dialogue, and I just don't see a realistic realm in which it's possible to have more than a handful of endings to get back to, when you have to have all of these characters and stuff participate, voice, have lines, write it, that type of stuff. Maybe that changes with AI, but I don't know.
I'd be happy with 4, right? More than 3. Happy with 4.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Fine.
Even if it was a good leaning, bad leaning, pure good, pure bad.
You sure you just don't want your 9 D&D endings? Chaotic good, chaotic neutral, chaotic evil, and then the rest.
We can make that a standard.
Perfect.
I'd be happy with 9.
Oh man, and what constitutes an ending, right? Because as you're leading up to the ending, you have different choices that do different things. So like, at what point is it just the ending versus the whole thing? So this is technically a whole different thing. Anyways.
It's completion of a story, right?
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, Mass Effect, for example, right? Like, you make so many choices throughout that as you go through the ending, my ending isn't necessarily going to be the same as yours, as I might be missing a companion or a compatriot, right? So what constitutes the ending?
Primarily major world setting, especially in Fable, right? No. I'm talking about like what the setting of the world is post end credits, right?
Okay, I'll give that to you. Yeah,
because that's what Fable. That's how Fable is, and Baldur's Gate is also like this.
Baldur's Gate being the anomaly.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean. That's what I'd like to see, because I've always enjoyed those multiple ending style games.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I just thought you were like talking about like the whole, like, last mission type of thing, narration, and I'm like, gosh, how many of those versions do you want? Like, that's a lot. Especially because you're putting a lot of time and effort into make something that only a part of the community is going to experience.
Yeah, I mean, yes, of course, but I also think that being able to make multiple endings like that not only adds to replayability, especially if you can make the game playable in many different fashions, like even if it's just like the difference between a physical melee player, a ranged physical player, a caster, a primarily support character, right? Any of those things. If you can do all of those things, and that's what your character is, and you can also target different endings in each playthrough, that's great. at the exact same time, I also think that it helps tailor the gameplay experience to every player.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. Making it more personalized and feeling less like your decisions meant nothing is definitely a good thing.
Yes.
You just have to, there has to be a balance between time and money spent developing versus amount of endings. So extra as you can, I think would be the best option for sure.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's a reboot.
I mean, though,
of
here's
a
what I
franchise.
don't like. Here's what I will agree with you that I don't like. I don't like the extreme endings.
Yeah.
I don't like the you're either good, and if you make one or two bad decisions, you're bad. Like,
right.
that drove me nuts. The most famous example, one of my favorite games of all time, one of my best experiences. I've talked about the Would You Kindly with BioShock before. Remember it to this day. I hated the ending because I killed one little sister. Now, mind you, murder is a very bad thing that is kind of unforgivable, so sure. But in the terms of a video game in which everyone is a fucking psychopath, right? And I've saved 19 out of the 20 children, and I get the evil ending, was a disappointment. Not only because it was like, whoa, what the fuck? But outside of that, also because I got less resources for saving all the children. So if I was going to get the evil ending anyways, I should have just sacrificed all of them so I could have gotten the extra resources.
Man, that's such a purely logical and robotic way of thinking. If I'm just going to get less resources and the end doesn't justify, or the means don't justify the end, then screw it.
Well, because to your point, it took me out of it, right? Because the whole narrative evil ending for that first BioShock game is talking how bad of a guy you are, and you did all these evil things, but I did the one thing once. I did the one thing once, and I didn't do any of the other evil stuff, but I got the evil ending because of the one thing that I did. So it took me out of it. And at that point, once I was taken out of the ending, then my thought process was like, well, gosh, if I was going to get this evil ending anyways, then none of it mattered.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, this is a reboot of a franchise that hasn't been around for a really long time. The only way that you can currently play the most recent version of Fable is by hacking your copy. So, like, it's not in a good place. Nope, that doesn't work either. You are required to have Xbox Online access. And it tries to access a server that doesn't exist.
Are you sure they didn't update that? I feel like they updated that.
Don't make me try and launch this game on Steam right now.
Okay, first of all, I can't guarantee on Steam, but I am 90% sure that if you pull out an old Xbox and put in your copy of Fable on a disc, you'll be able to play it. All right, anyone out there, put your copy of Fable in your old Xbox and let us know if you can play it.
And
Please.
if this is the first time that you have pulled out your old Xbox, let us know if it has a red ring of death.
Actually, I'd be curious. Yeah, let me know. Anyways, moving on, because we got a lot of games to get through. Halo Combat Evolved, which I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but it's been around before this, is basically Halo Combat Evolved on Unreal Engine 3, so it's a glow up. It arrives July 28th, 2026. And it has the original classic experience along with some new prequel missions to bridge the lore between that original game and some of the sequels. They are also adding some of the newer weapons to that original game. So if you're a Halo purist, you're not going to be happy. But if you haven't ever played Halo before, it's probably a good time to jump in. What's that?
I'm going to correct basically everything that you just said there because you misspoke on almost all of it. Halo Campaign Evolved is what is being released. It is a glow up of Halo Combat Evolved.
You're right. But I mean, it's essentially how Halo Combat Evolved.
I know. It's just funny to me.
Also, that's not all of it. That's one name thing. Jeez.
You also said Unreal Engine 3.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, they all suck. Anyways, Resonance of Plague Tales Legacy. So you're getting a sequel to that as well. That's August 27th. Of this year. Interestingly enough, a new Spyro game. Spyro: A Realm Beyond. Toys for Bob is reviving the Spyro franchise with a new full-scale adventure. It is slated for a 2027 release window, and interestingly enough, this PlayStation title originally, which is now an Xbox title, the trailer actually has more views than the new God of War or the Wolverine trailer.
I'm not surprised.
I mean, me
They're
neither.
not locked behind purchasing an entire console.
You're not wrong. Plus, we haven't had a Spyro in a long time. People like
That's not true.
nostalgia, and they fond the heart grows fonder through
That's
time
not
and
true.
distance. Oh my gosh.
We had a recent Spyro game.
Yeah, but everyone memory hold that one, so don't worry about it.
Okay, buddy. Now, granted, it was a remake, right? To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, fair. They did talk more about Clockwork Revolution, which I am looking forward to this game because it looks like an interesting time-bending steampunk RPG. It is from the a studio that has the creators of Fallout 1 and 2. It is slated for spring 2027. Not too many more details with that one, though. And Microsoft revealed a translucent Xbox Series X25 limited edition console, which is that translucent plastic that a lot of the original Xboxes and Xbox 360s eventually came in for special editions. And it's basically, we put out a short for that Razer mouse. It's basically that type of translucent plastic, but in Xbox green. So it's, if you want something special, that's out there. Outside of that, getting into more general announcements from Summer Game Fest and others around it. Something that I'm actually very much looking forward to is a game called Crossfire. It's a brand new single-player action-adventure tactical stealth shooter from That's No Moon. The studio is led by veterans from Naughty Dog and Infinity Ward being of Call of Duty fame, attempting to fundamentally revolutionize the third-person cover shooter game by solving box hiding limitations. So it's going to have something called adaptive cover that scraps the static waist-high barriers in favor of organic dynamic terrain navigation. It is unfortunately built on Unreal Engine 5. I mean, I joke, but that's what everything is on at this point, so it doesn't really matter. It's on a UE5. The narrative focuses on an alliance between mercenary Layla Qassam and opposing operator Delroy Cross. It doesn't have a release date yet, but it will be for everything but Switch. And the two basically have to work together after some kind of like it's hard to tell if it's a little bit of sci-fi or a little bit of like bioengineering type of stuff, but it's something outside of the norm that's a bit of a mystery from the trailer at the moment. And so these two have to work together to deal with it. So it looks really cool. The trailer looked great. Trailers always look great, though. So, but let's put some rubber to the road and see if it actually ends up well, as it's pretty early on. Outside of that, a game that Heru is looking forward to, Guild Wars 3.
Sort of, kind of.
Guild Wars 3 was also announced. So they officially unveiled the third entry in the legendary MMORPG franchise. Studio head Colin Johansson has explicitly stated their goal is to completely revolutionize the genre rather than just releasing another MMO. No official release date yet, but the first playable beta is confirmed for coming in fall of Q4 2027. So there is definitely some time between now and then. Currently, the platforms are PC and PlayStation 5. Any details you want to get into for this?
I mean, yeah, I can kind of just rattle off some of the little things here. The game is supposedly taking place in roughly 1,000 to 1,200 years before the events of the original Guild Wars. For those who did not play the original Guild Wars, it does not play anything like Guild Wars 2, so feel free to go try it. The location is set in the Tyrian region of Ur, depicted here as a vast and lush wilderness, which, if you look at the trailer, it looks gorgeous. It really does. It has that like extremely saturated colors that like most WoW gamers like. Because I know that like WoW gamers are oftentimes criticized for liking heavily saturated colors. Probably because that's just how we grew up.
Well,
but
yeah,
regardless,
you need a game that runs on a potato.
You're not wrong. The narrative will be taking the role of a Veil Warden, which is a member of the Adventurers Guild committed to protecting Ore and its natural entities known as Veil Spirits. You'll be navigating conflicts against rival guilds who want to exploit the land's magic, which I'm glad they actually added in, something relevant to guilds, because it feels like Guild Wars 2 kind of lost some of that.
That's fair.
Gameplay and combat mechanics, it mentions that it is going to be a heavily action combat system. So moving away from the traditional tab target stuff, I'm personally concerned that it's just going to be another WildStar, where, yeah, action combat is cool and all, but in a massive multiplayer online game, it turns into a spam fest and you call it a day, which is unfortunate because death balls were very common in WildStar. And you can get a lot of action combat feely gameplay from tab target MMOs without having to, do this weird combat system that is based on shapes and geometry and crap like that.
They did mention that they're trying to get away from the hotbar button mashing, right? The hotbar mashing.
Yeah, they definitely did. But the problem is that every example of moving away from the tab target system that I have seen turns into, instead of button mashing, you're just holding one button down and occasionally pressing others.
Well, I mean,
and I'm not talking like
about
WASD.
How it's going to be physics-based, right? So, like, if you're getting some travel speed, you could get some higher damage from a heavier impact, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, they could be saying that it's physics-based, and it could be damage-oriented. It could also just be, like, how you're actually using these abilities and, like, maybe their range, their radius, things like that. Regardless, though, I haven't seen a good action MMORPG that has succeeded in any way, shape, or form.
Well, you'll get to test it before it comes out, so.
That's true, and I might, depending on what's going on around that time, because that is, unfortunately, around the time that Path of Exiles 2 will be releasing into 1.0. So, who knows?
Yeah, but they, tailor-made the mounts for you.
I mean, yeah, but I have so many mounts already, and at the end of the day, they're just a form of transportation, and I don't get to hear the sound of a V8 engine when I run around on a mount. So it's like whatever.
But it's a wolf-like spirit.
Yeah, sure, but I have so many of those in WoW too. Anyways, it does mention that there's not going to be any subs, which means there's also not going to be any battle passes. And that's weird to me. Every time I've seen an MMO that doesn't have a subscription, it just flounders. It fails to put out regular content. It doesn't have enough income. The game becomes stagnant, and it just kind of dies. Things that I can think of off the top of my head, Amazon's MMO did that. Elder Scrolls Online kind of died for that exact reason. Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of the name at the time. So yeah, I don't know. It kind of is what it is. I hope and pray for Guild Wars 3 to be good. But the things that it needs to change if it wants to actually get into the MMO space, if it's going to be this action RPG-oriented thing, it needs to heavily rely on PvP. Right? If that's what they're going to try and cater to, because that's what Guild Wars 2 caters to primarily, it has a lot of PvE-oriented stuff, but none of that PvE actually matters. It's all horizontal progression. None of it is actual vertical progression. Your character is not actually getting more powerful from a certain point. You just are, more than anything, you just kind of are given access to different ways to do the same things.
I mean, that's fair.
Which is, damage, tanking, and healing. So that's kind of the big thing that always kind of turned me off of Guild Wars 2, is that there's just no progression, and therefore there was also no achievement, right? That personal achievement.
Other than the act.
Yeah. But there's no personal achievement. There's no I put in a ton of time to get this done with a group of people that I enjoyed playing with the whole time type thing, right? Instead, it was I picked up 19 other people, and we just kind of killed it. It's kind of what it comes down to. There's no feeling of accomplishment. It's just, here's your participation trophy. Congratulations. And I guess that just kind of disappoints
that
me.
Wanted to talk about Guild Wars 3. You don't sound very excited about
No, I am.
the franchise.
So the problem is that I loved Guild Wars 1.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it. It was an amazing game. It was one of the first MMOs that I ever played. I actually very rarely talk about Guild Wars 1, mostly because of the people who were involved in my life at the time. No, thank you. But Guild Wars 1 was an absolutely amazing MMO. And it was one of the few MMOs that your decision-making process and how you built your character actually was important. Because if you messed up how you built your character, you had to make a new one. There was no like respec system or anything like that, because it was, the older MMO. But Guild Wars 2 kind of did away with all of that, which I'm fine with. I think that's ridiculous in modern MMOs. People just don't have that amount of time anymore, and that's just
especially if they're already playing an MMO.
Yes, exactly. But there was no real vertical progression in Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 1 did have vertical progression. But again, it was still very PvP oriented, which is fine. I don't care if it's PvP oriented, but it needs to be PvP oriented in the right way instead of just go spam some abilities and call it a day.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
So, I don't know. I love the world of Guild Wars in general, especially Guild Wars 2. And I love the class ideas because they're not standard by any stretch of the imagination. You do have like the standard warrior, ranger, paladin, things like that. But then you have things like Mesmer, which is absolutely amazing. They focus very hard on like elementalist as well, where instead most MMOs just go with mage, right? Or sorceress.
So basically, you like a bunch of the new ideas, but you hope they go back to a little bit of what made Guild Wars 1 special.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fair. Well, if you played either 1 or 2, they are going to be rewarding players with cosmetics if for certain achievements from those games, and they aren't shutting down 1 or 2, so you can still play those as well. Any other remaining comments for Guild Wars?
The final one is the weapon system. I was not a fan of the weapon system in Guild Wars 2. I really, really hated the fact that if you got an upgrade, but it was a different type of weapon, your entire skill set changes because your skill set is tied to the type of weapon that you were using, not like the spells or the skills and the abilities. Like it's just full-blown change. Yeah. In the late game, it doesn't matter, right? Because you just have every type of weapon at max, and it's whatever. But in the early game and during the leveling process, it feels terrible.
I mean, that's fair. Well, anyone that really liked Guild Wars 2, let us know why you liked it and why Heru is wrong, or whether or not you agree with him. But I do hope Guild Wars 3 is the Guild Wars you're looking for, because we've all been there where a sequel wasn't what we wanted. So, Speaking of a game with a lot of sequels, Heru, this isn't here in case you're looking for it. But they did announce Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, which is going to be set in Korea, supposedly going back to a more realistic, gritty setting. Because, wow, wildly the ridiculous BS that this last game was and didn't sell well comparatively wasn't a hit. So go back to what made the formula good. Anyways, a couple interesting things, which is the only reason I'm actually mentioning this, and this game is in October, is the multiplayer maps will have adjusting weather and day and night cycles, which for a multiplayer shooter, I do find that interesting, because then it might make something like night vision goggles something to actually take if it's going back and forth. And Heru, you'll not find this shocking in any way, but the DMZ mode that existed in previous games is coming back. It's going to be an extraction shooter.
Oh, weird.
So, yeah. I mean, wow. Arc Raiders is a huge, giant game, and now all of a sudden Call of Duty has an extraction shooter mode? I am so shocked. Again? But anyways, that's happening for anyone that cares. Moving on, Stellar Blade Blood Rain. So, the Stellar Blade franchise officially gets a sequel announcement with no date, mind you, so it is very, very early on. But they did put out a little bit of a trailer with if not a new character, a new look to a character. They have, and interestingly enough, Heru and I did talk about how people like Kojima or Stellar Blade could decide to go away from Sony if Sony was demanding exclusive rights. And that has happened. So Stellar Blade, or the Shift Up, the developer of Stellar Blade, has dropped Sony as their publisher and will be self-publishing Blood Rain to ensure a simultaneous launch across all current-gen consoles and PC day one. The game leaves behind the desolate wastelands of the first one for a cyberpunk-inspired urban landscape. And the sequel replaces the original protagonist Eve with a hot-headed new hero named Eve. It is a different combat redesign as well. So you're getting a little bit of a new gameplay as well, which I think is an interesting way to do it. So rather, again, hearkening back to the things we talked about previously, replacing main characters for games. Apparently it's a trend. So it's happening there.
Yeah.
Another game that a lot of people might be interested in, even though it wasn't ever really my franchise, Gen Atlas was announced from legendary director Fumito Ueda, which is the Shadow of Colossus and the Last Guardian fame. Shadow of the Colossus being one of the... Now, I don't know if it was really popular when it came out, but I know it's at least a gigantic cult classic. Which revealed their sci-fi project where players command giant robots from their detachable heads. So it is a shift into a pure sci-fi universe. We'll see how it goes, but people who like big giant things will probably find that game entertaining. Final Fantasy VII Revelation. Square Enix officially announced the title and a 2027 release date as a part of for the first part of the remake trilogy. I don't even know what version of Final Fantasy is ever releasing. I don't know if it's a new one, an old one, a remake, a redo. I am so lost when it comes to this franchise.
Honestly, it doesn't matter.
Fair. Alien Isolation 2, which the first Alien Isolation was a very well-received game, both critically and somewhat commercially, as it kind of came out of the blue and swept people up as they loved it. It is a direct sequel to that 2014 classic, and you will go back to evading xenomorphs, unsurprisingly. Sequel to Cuphead as well, the Mighty Cuphead Adventure, with studio MDHR announcing an 80s-inspired pixel platformer, and casually teased the mainline Cuphead sequel is in early development. The announcement was delivered entirely by a Cuphead puppet wearing a business suit, for anyone interested in some context.
Perfect.
Right? Another game that I am interested in, because my beloved Assassin's Creed franchise has been not interesting to me for quite a while. It's had a couple good games here or there, but on the whole, have not really been interested in it. So 1666 Amsterdam was announced by Patrice Deestes. I can't. Just don't even ask me to do that again. Assassin's Creed, which is one of the original Assassin's Creed creator. He was involved in, I believe, some of the early ones, Brotherhood as well, potentially. Showcased his historical action adventure featuring a bit of magic, coming late 2026. It is an upcoming dark fantasy action adventure game. The original creator of Assassin's Creed. You play as Noah, a magic-wielding collector, tasked with hunting down demons known as originals who are hiding in plain sight as everyday citizens. The story spans 3 timelines, 1666, and interestingly enough, 1999, which, for anyone that's not looking that in front of them, you turn a 6 upside down, and you get a 9. So I do like this, because this is interesting to me, going from very old historical to basically modern. I know 1999 is 27 years old at this point, but you have a lot of modern tech in 1999, like computers and phones, as opposed to 1666. So it's a cool dichotomy to me for this here. You will have a different day and night combat loop. By day, you use stealth and an investigation kind of gameplay to track down and mark disguised demons. And by night, you fight those demons in their true forms alongside an animal companion. As of right now, you can go play this. So, a 30-minute prologue was released recently, ahead of the game's early access launch. It did face some backlash as players noticed the use of some AI-generated art, specifically like paintings on the wall and that type of stuff. The developers did quickly apologize and, kind of Expedition 33 style, are promising to replace all of those assets with human-made ones before the official release. But if you want to play this game, you can go play the prologue right now.
I mean, I'm okay with people being upset about the whole AI generated art thing, but people also need to realize that AI is a tool like any other,
And it's not going
and
anywhere.
it's not going anywhere. It absolutely will continue being used, and I think it is perfectly acceptable, telling a dev, "Hey, you left this in here by mistake." That's fine. But saying something worse than that, like, this whole game is ruined because you just developed the whole thing with AI. No, you're just dumb at that point.
Yep. I mean, yeah, if you want to voice your concerns about, hey, you have a lot of AI art assets in here, if you could get, a human to take care of this and replace them at some point, that'd be great. Totally fine. But if you're going to poo-poo a whole game in which a lot of people have worked on it, and there is a lot of human-generated art in here, because like I said, it's a lot of like the background pieces that are basically these AI-generated assets. Yeah, it's probably a bit of an overreaction, especially because it's a tool nowadays that is being used more and more, so it's not going away.
Yeah. And for those who are curious, Patrice, ultimately, he founded his newest studio back in 2014, where they initially worked on Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey.
Oh, hey.
So the studio has actually fully released a game, and Humankind Odyssey was quite good. So I'm pretty excited. I liked Assassin's
Plus, those
Creed
original
in
Assassin's
general.
Creed games were good.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with it. The original Assassin's Creed games were great. He did work on 1, 2, and Brotherhood.
Yeah, which are some of the best ones.
Yep, arguably. I completed both 1, 2, and Brotherhood. Yep. I never made it through 3 or any of the other ones.
Well, Black Flag. You made it through Black Flag, but that's
the
other
ones. Yeah. But yeah, he and his team definitely know how to make video games, so I'm looking forward to throwing a bit of magic into an Assassin's Creed style game.
I was going to say, one of the things that I missed from those early Assassin's Creed games, because they kind of dropped it quick, was a bit of the stalking to figure out how to assassinate somebody. And it seems like this is bringing that back with the gameplay loop where you have to use stealth to follow characters and investigate to figure out who these demons are. And then the combat takes place at night to take them out. So I am very interested to see how that gameplay loop progresses. And I have not played the prologue yet, mind you. I go back and forth on whether or not I will, just because if it's something I'm really interested in, I kind of maybe just want to play it.
Yep.
So we'll see. Because, I mean, if this is a separate prologue, that's a different thing, as opposed to not being included in the game.
Right, for sure. Yeah, the thing that kind of irritated me about the later Assassin's Creed games is that it really did kind of feel like you could just run into a room full of armed guards and a giant group of people, stab a dude, and then parkour your way out of there and call it a day.
Yeah, well, right. they just became get through the defended area. So basically kill your way through the defended area. Stealthily kill your way through the defended area. And then kill your target. And that was about it. Like, now...
everybody else is doing the investigation for you at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm not saying I need Hitman style, where I need to slowly stealth my way, figure out how to take out a guy the whole way, but a little bit of both would be appreciated by me. So...
Yeah, I would like clever puzzles, really, more than anything. That's why I liked the original Assassin's Creed games, is there were multiple ways to solve a problem. And yes, one of them was just kill everyone, but you could also kill almost no one except your target.
True. That is very true.
So, yeah.
Well, this looks promising. I look forward to it, and hopefully it's as good as it seems it will be. So, if you're disappointed with the recent Assassin's Creeds, go check out 1666 Amsterdam when it comes out later this year. Another remake on the horizon, Resident Evil Code Veronica, aka Resident Evil Veronica for the remake, so that Heru doesn't get mad at me. Capcom revealed a fully rebuilt Code Veronica remake slated for 2027. It is shifting the classic third-person horror game into supposedly a first-person perspective, although that's not quite clear yet, so keep a lookout for that if it was just kind of trailer styling. It is being developed by the team that handled Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 remakes, which are both very good remakes that were well received and commercially good as well. So I expect this Resident Evil game to be another good Resident Evil game, and I will probably play it.
Probably.
All right, here's another game that I basically have only put in here because Heru just told me that he likes racing stuff the other day. So I also thought this looked interesting. So Clutch was announced. It's an upcoming cinematic open world action driving game launching in spring 2027 for everything but Switch, which is basically, me being on repeat today. By Maverick Games, which is an independent studio founded by former Forza Horizon 5 creative director Mike Brown and about 100 different ex-employees from the Forza Horizon Studios. It is set in a highly detailed French Riviera map and is a living, interestingly enough, PvPvE sandbox featuring 3 main hub cities, Cannes, Saint-Tropez, and a scaled-up, fully drivable Monaco, stretching from the Mediterranean coast up to the Alps. The game shifts away from Forza's usual happy-go-lucky vibe towards a more gritty, Fast and the Furious tone. Features a custom physics engine, dynamic vehicle wear and tear reflecting your driving style, and hyper-detailed customization that even allows you to alter car interiors, down to leaving trash in the cup holders or old parking tickets on the windshield. So, if you're a racing fan, this year and in the coming years, you're eating pretty good. Another game that I am excited for, not because it's a Star Wars game, but because I am a huge XCOM fan. I loved those games, those XCOM games, and for any of you who don't know, they are grid, turn-based style, percentage roll combat games, depending on if someone's in cover, what kind of gun you have, yada, yada, yada. So if you like some turn-based strategy type of stuff, Star Wars Zero Company is going to be your bag. It is a single-player game developed by Bit Reactor and Respawn Entertainment, releasing August 27th of this year for everything but Switch, drawing heavy inspiration from the XCOM series of games and that combat top-down perspective with an action point system, lasting injuries, permanent squad death, and time-sensitive management and research at your base. It is set during the late Clone Wars, which again, something else that I'm going to love because for me personally, the only real Star Wars lore I enjoy is the Clone Wars time frame of Star Wars type of stuff. So super big fan of this. With a gritty espionage focused tone, players control a fully customizable former Republic officer named Hawks, leading an unconventional squad against a separatist aligned cult. So if you liked XCOM or any of those turn-based style games, here's a Star Wars game for you coming out this year. Did you ever play XCOM, Hero?
I tried.
Not your bag?
Nah. That's the turn-based one, right?
Yeah. That's
fair.
fair.
Nah, I'm good.
My favorite thing, to be honest with you, because I have played through XCOM probably 5 or 6 times, which for me is a lot because if anyone knows me, like my favorite TV show I've probably seen 3 or 4 times in my entire life. So I don't really redo stuff a lot. Even like one of my favorite games of all time, Mass Effect or Resident Evil 4, I've probably only played through 2 to 3 times. XCOM being a little shorter, so it was easier. But my favorite thing to do was because you could fully customize your soldiers, their faces and squad powers and their names. So my favorite was always coming up with a theme for the squad. So obviously did a bunch of friends at one point, and the game has permadeath. So it kind of ended up being a little macabre as some of my friends were permanently killed off. So I didn't do that again. I did that once. Didn't do it again.
Now you just need to put all your enemies in there.
Yeah, but then they have to watch my back, and I don't know if I want that either when they miss constantly. On an 80% shot and they miss, it's just because they're my enemy and I know it, so it's just gonna piss me off. Anyways, we've got basically finishing up with Nintendo here, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure either of us is huge Nintendo fans, even though we like aspects of some Nintendo franchises, so we probably won't spend too much time here, but there is a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake that is coming out to the Switch 2 for a late 2026 release. Dusk Bloods was also announced, which is a dark action RPG exclusively for the Switch 2 from Hidetaka Miyazaki from Software, so aka those gritty Dark Souls, Demon Souls type games that people love and enjoy. So if you want any more information about that, go check that out. Specifically, also one of the bigger announcements, Kingdom Hearts 4, which Square Enix brought the highly anticipated RPG to Nintendo Direct, confirming it as a day one launch title for Switch 2. It's resurfacing after years of silence with native next-gen Nintendo support. So Nintendo Switch 2 is getting a major third-party AAA title, which I did not have on my bingo card for this year, but it is happening. The new gameplay trailer showed Sora battling new enemies, including a massive boss fight that involved an enemy attacking a skyscraper. The first 3 Kingdom Hearts compilation games are also getting a native Switch 2 port on October 28th of 2026 as well, with Kingdom Hearts 4 launching sometime in 2027. Splatoon is also getting a sequel, Splatoon Raiders. That's coming out July 23rd, 2026. It's Splatoon. That's your PvP shooter for Nintendo, basically. Xenoblade's Genesis for the Xenoblade franchise of RPGs, for anyone that enjoys that, coming 2027. Another Final Fantasy Resonance. I don't know which version of a remake this is, but that's coming October 22nd. And interestingly enough, an on-rails shooter Star Fox game coming later this month. So if you want to go play that, there is a free demo at this moment. And there are a few games that I'm sure I have missed. So if there's anything in here that we haven't talked about that is your favorite game, feel free to drop it in the comments and we'll take a look at it if it's interesting enough. Maybe we'll mention it next week. And we are, I promise you, we are happening next week, bar some act of God. We are getting back to our original schedule. Just pray that Heru stops licking doorknobs so he doesn't get sick anymore as well. We don't need that to happen. Alrighty. I think that's all we have for today. Alrighty, people. Close your books and pack your bags. That's all we have time for this week. All I know is that there's a lot of games that I'm actually looking forward to that are coming out this year, and some that I've already played. We didn't even talk about some of the games that I've played recently, so we might have to do that next week. We hope you enjoy your time off and look forward to your participation next time. Peace.
See ya.